The next class of subdivision Pteropsida is class Angiospermae. They are called as Angiospermae because they are enclosed seeded as compared to that of Gymnosperms, which are naked seeded plants. कि इनकी जो seed है, it is protected or surrounded by the ovary or the fruit wall. So we know that they comprises of fruits, flowers, and seeds. Now we will see the basic flower structure of class Angiospermae. We can see here that it comprises of carpel or pistil, which is female part, and it comprises of stigma, the style, and here there is ovary. Inside it is fertilized ovule, and we can see here this is the sepal part, and these are the petals, and these are used for the pollination. And here is the male part, which is also called as stamen, and it comprises of anther, and which has spores in it, and it has filament. So now we will switch to the life cycle of angiosperm. We know that the life cycle of angiosperm alternates between the haploid gametophytes and diploid sporophyte generation. And here in this case, the sporophyte generation is dominant generation, and while the gametophyte generation is dependent on the sporophyte generation. You can see here inside the anther there is microsporocyte, which is 2N or diploid. It undergoes meiosis and forms microspores. Meanwhile, in the female part, which is also called as carpel, there is the same process going on, and we know that carpel comprises of stigma, style, and ovary, and of course the ovule. And inside the ovary, there is megasporocyte, and megasporocyte undergoes meiosis, and it forms 4 cells or megaspores. Out of these 4 cells or megaspores, 1 remains functional. And likewise, in pollen grain, there is a process of mitosis, and inside megagametophyte there is also the process of mitosis, and as a result of mitosis you can see that 7 cells results. और जो इसमें जो center cell है, you can see here that it has 2 nucleus, और इसको हम polar nucleus कहते हैं. तो ये जो नीचे सेल्स आपको नजर आ रहे हैं उनमें से सेंटर वन इज एग सेल. तो माइक्रोगमीटोफाइट जिसके अंदर 2 स्पर्म्स हैं, वो उससे पोलन ट्यूब जर्मिनेट हुई, और वाया द पोलन ट्यूब यू कैन सी दीज 2 स्पर्म्स कम्स अलोंग, और इनमें से एक जो है वो जर्मिनेट करता है या फर्टिलाइज करता है एग को, एंड द अदर वन फर्टिलाइज द पोलर न्यूक्लियाई. तो जो एग सेल है वो फर्टिलाइज होकर 2N बन जाता है, while the polar nuclei जो ऑलरेडी जिनमें 2 न्यूक्लियस थे और एक स्पर्म का न्यूक्लियस चला गया, तो इट बिकम्स ट्रिप्लॉइड. और सो इसे हम इस प्रोसेस को हम डबल फर्टिलाइजेशन कहते हैं कि एक स्पर्म फर्टिलाइज एग को कर रहा है और दूसरा जो है वो पोलर न्यूक्लियाई को कर रहा है. So this is called as a double fertilization, and it is a hallmark in the life cycle of angiosperm. Or we know that this double fertilization is important because this endosperm tissue provide food to the developing embryo. So you can see the zygote is there, which is of course 2N, and here is triploid 3N cell, and the process is called double fertilization. And as a result of it, seed forms. Seed actually is a fertilized ovule, as we discussed earlier. It has got embryonate and endosperm tissue, which is the result of double fertilization, and it is providing food to the developing embryo. And on favorable condition, it germinates to form seedling. So now we can also summarize the angiosperm. So we can also summarize the life cycle of angiosperm via this diagram. We can see here this is the flower part, and it comprises of a male part as well as the female part. So inside the male part, which is called as anther, via the process of meiosis, microspore mother cells form microspores, and these microspores are called as microgametophytes or pollen grains. These pollen grains, when come inside this female part, they forms pollen tube as well as two sperm nucleus. Meanwhile, inside the female part, we can see that megaspore mother cells, via the process of meiosis, forms 4 megaspores, out of which one remains functional, and it becomes 7-celled or 8-nucleate embryo sac. ये 3 cells यहाँ पे हैं और 3 cells यहाँ पे हैं और 1 cell यहाँ है, लेकिन ये जो सेंटर वाला सेल है, it is डबल न्यूक्लियस है इसमें, as you can see here, तो इसे 8-nucleate embryo sac भी कह सकते हैं हम. So after fertilization by these sperms, जो एक यहाँ पर egg present है, एक sperm जो है इस egg को fertilize करेगा, and the other जो sperm है, it will fertilize this binucleate cell, जिसे यहाँ पे हम polar nucleus भी कहते हैं. तो as a result of this double fertilization, we can see here endosperm formation and formation of embryo, and this whole structure is called as seed, and we can see here that after germination it forms adult sporophyte, 2n generation with flowers. So this is all about the life cycle of class Angiospermae.